From lost civilizations beneath the waves to modern cities threatened by rising seas, the story of sinking cities is one of mystery, tragedy, and warning. Throughout history, entire communities have vanished under the surface, leaving behind eerie ruins and tales of a life once vibrant and thriving. But why do cities sink? What forces, both natural and human-made, pull entire communities beneath the waves? To understand why cities sink, we must first look at the forces of nature, elements beyond our control that shape the Earth's surface, often in unpredictable ways. The sinking of cities is frequently due to natural forces at work for millions of years: tectonic shifts, erosion, and climate change. These forces remind us that the Earth is not static. It's dynamic, constantly reshaping itself. One of the primary causes of land subsidence, where land gradually sinks, is the movement of tectonic plates. The Earth's outer layer, or crust, is split into massive sections, known as tectonic plates, which float on the semi-fluid mantle beneath. As these plates drift, they can collide, pull apart, or slide past each other. In areas where plates are moving apart, such as along the Great Rift Valley in Africa, the land can slowly sink over time. But tectonic activity can also create abrupt changes. For example, in the Mediterranean, the lost city of Heracleion was submerged by earthquakes and sudden land shifts around 2,000 years ago. What was once a prosperous, bustling city of ancient Egypt is now an underwater archaeological site, with ruins, statues, and treasures preserved beneath the sea. Subduction zones, places where one tectonic plate is forced under another, can also create areas of rapid sinking. Earthquakes and tsunamis are often byproducts of these geological shifts, and the results can be catastrophic. Another formidable force that threatens modern cities is climate change. With global temperatures rising, we're witnessing the melting of glaciers and polar ice caps at an unprecedented rate. As these ice reserves melt, they contribute to the overall volume of the world's oceans, leading to rising sea levels that threaten coastal communities. Sea level rise isn't just a gradual process, it's accelerating. In fact, scientists estimate that sea levels could rise by up to 1 meter by the end of this century. Cities like Miami, New York, and Shanghai are already feeling the effects, with higher tides, flooding, and severe storms becoming more frequent. Even small islands, like those in the Maldives, face the existential threat of complete submersion within a few decades. Climate change also brings more extreme weather, such as hurricanes and typhoons, which can erode coastlines, weaken natural barriers, and force entire cities to face the brunt of the ocean's might. We've seen this in places like New Orleans, where Hurricane Katrina reshaped the landscape, leaving parts of the city vulnerable to flooding. As sea levels rise and storms intensify, the threat of coastal cities sinking only grows more imminent. But nature alone isn't to blame. Human activity is another major factor in why cities sink. The more we build, dig, and extract, the more we unknowingly contribute to our city's sinking fate. One of the most common ways humans accelerate land subsidence is through groundwater extraction. Many large cities rely on underground reservoirs of water, known as aquifers, to meet the demands of their growing populations. As these reservoirs are drained, the ground above them starts to sink. Take Jakarta, Indonesia, as an example. This bustling megacity, home to over 10 million people, is sinking at an alarming rate. In some areas, it's reported to be subsiding by as much as 25 centimeters per year. The primary culprit: groundwater extraction. Jakarta's residents and industries have been relying heavily on groundwater for years, causing the ground to compact and sink. The problem is so severe that the government is considering relocating the capital to a safer location. Additionally, urban development and massive construction projects can put excessive pressure on the land. Buildings, roads, and infrastructure all contribute to land compaction, which leads to subsidence. In Mexico City, a sprawling metropolis built on a lake bed, subsidence has been an ongoing issue for decades. As the city's population grew, so did the need for water, leading to the draining of local aquifers. Today, Mexico City is sinking by an average of 10 centimeters each year, causing roads to crack, buildings to tilt, and infrastructure to weaken. The phenomenon of sinking cities isn't exclusive to the modern era. Throughout history, entire cities have disappeared beneath the waves, leaving behind mysteries and lessons. These sunken cities are testimonies of both natural calamities and the hubris of humankind. One of the most famous examples is the city of Atlantis, a lost civilization famously described by the philosopher Plato. While its existence is widely debated, the idea of a grand, technologically advanced city swallowed by the ocean has fascinated humanity for centuries. Atlantis remains a powerful myth, a cautionary tale of civilization's fragility in the face of nature's wrath. In the Mediterranean Sea, we have the city of Baiae, an ancient Roman resort town known for its luxury and decadence. Baiae attracted the wealthiest members of Roman society, including emperors. However, due to volcanic activity and seismic changes, the ground beneath Baiae sank, submerging parts of the city underwater. Today, divers can explore Baiae's underwater ruins, witnessing firsthand the grandeur of Roman architecture lost to time. As more cities face the threat of sinking, governments, engineers, and scientists are working to prevent or slow down the process. From constructing massive seawalls to developing innovative drainage systems, cities around the world are implementing adaptation strategies to safeguard against rising waters. The Netherlands, for instance, has been a pioneer in water management. Much of the country is below sea level, making it vulnerable to flooding. To combat this, the Dutch have developed an extensive system of dikes, barriers, and canals. One of their most impressive feats is the Maaslandkring, a massive storm surge barrier that protects the port city of Rotterdam from North Sea floods. In Asia, cities like Tokyo and Bangkok are also taking preventive measures. Tokyo has constructed a massive underground flood control system called the Metropolitan Area Outer Underground Discharge Channel, also known as the GCANS. This network of giant underground tunnels and storage tanks helps divert excess floodwater from the city's rivers, reducing the risk of urban flooding. These engineering marvels are inspiring, but they're only a temporary solution. As sea levels continue to rise, humanity faces a sobering question: how much longer can we fight the ocean? As we look to the future, it's clear that our relationship with the sea will continue to evolve. Some experts believe that relocating coastal populations may be inevitable for the most vulnerable areas. Others propose creating floating cities or adaptive architecture that can rise with the water levels. In the Maldives, a country facing the very real threat of submersion, plans are underway to build a floating city as a solution to their unique geographical challenges. Such cities would be constructed on buoyant platforms and could house thousands of people, moving with the tides instead of being submerged by them. Similarly, architects and engineers are exploring ideas for amphibious housing and climate-resilient infrastructure, transforming the way we live and interact with water. These innovative solutions remind us that while nature is powerful, human resilience and ingenuity can still offer hope. Cities sinking into the sea serve as both a warning and a reminder. They reveal the fragility of our civilization, built on land that's ever-shifting and subject to forces far greater than ourselves. While we may try to resist, adapt, or engineer our way out of nature's grasp, there will always be limits to what we can control. In the end, the story of sinking cities is a reminder of our delicate relationship with the planet. It calls us to act wisely, to respect the natural world, and to prepare for the changes ahead. Because, whether through natural forces or human influence, the rise and fall of cities are as inevitable as the tides themselves.